Hello, my name's Christina, and question one. Financial inequality, economic inequality. It affects vulnerable people the most, but it affects everyone and significantly reduces people's quality of life in all dimensions: health, education, income. So, how do we change it? That's a big question. In the context of the UK, I think investing in reliable universal based income and for people in the lowest income bands is essential, and offering them tax relief, investing in the NHS to reduce backlogs and increase access to quality healthcare. Also implementing stricter taxes on people in the highest income bands, which can then be used to reinvest in better quality infrastructure and trickle down. Number two, give an example. So bureaucracy, I think it's an efficiency that negatively affects people's lives significantly. I know someone who has a refugee background and they were granted permission to work finally after a long time. But then because they didn't have the physical proof and they were waiting on the administrative team to send it to them, they weren't able to work for several months. So this negatively affected their life in many ways. And I believe the root cause of bureaucratic inefficiency, especially in migration, is the political pressure to slow down, increase the difficulty of an integration process, and to decentivize people from coming in. And number three, any and all. I think it's the numbers, the influence and the intention that can create cause for systemic change. So a food bank might collaborate with their local council and with a homeless shelter and create a triangle effect where service users of the homeless shelter can be referred to the food bank and also to the council, but the food bank can refer their service users to direct them to available support services that the local council offers. So I think this triangle collaboration, it can unite a lot of systemic change. Number four, there are so many issues. I think a big one in the UK that I don't think is getting as much attention as it should, or it's not getting as much action, is the recycling systems, especially for plastic. I mean, we have different bins for different councils. That's such an inefficient system. In Spain, they don't have that. In Spain, it's nationalized. There is one concrete recycling system. And I think this creates public misconceptions of how and what to recycle, public skepticisms of recycling benefits, and this landfill crisis. It's polluting our planet. It's entering our bodies, animals' bodies through microplastics. And I think without introducing single-use plastic reduction policies that are stricter and creating a more efficient, cohesive recycling system in the UK, I don't think that we're close to combating that problem. Number five, many court cases are often dismissed because of understaffing or lack of public interest or insufficient administrative capacities, even if the cases are severe. So I think investing in infrastructure, especially staff, to reduce the backlog pressure will hopefully help influence a judge's decision before cancelling a court trial. And number six, I think educational policies, increasing support for young people's education experiences, to lower the teacher-student class ratios. Also community investment. I think investing in community centres, staff to run community activities to engage young people and diversify their social network, and so that they can act proactively in their community, and hopefully this will reduce their time spent potentially in either doing nothing or in even criminal affairs. Number seven, Stop the War campaign. I don't know if it's made a huge influence on decision makers directly, but I do know that 500,000 people turning up every month to Parliament to peacefully protest has definitely increased the government's pressure to recognise Palestine as a state, and call on ceasefires to end the war atrocities. Number 8, being listened to, I think, is the main power. I think being able to voice as a young person your opinion and have your opinion taken seriously when big decisions are being made. I think that's a big power, a very important one for a young person. Number 9. So this is a big question, but I can provide a case study. So there's a organization that I know that they noticed a problem affecting their local people, which was that inadequate support in the public schools meant that students with learning difficulties were falling behind in their literacy abilities. So they introduced a community service where affected students local to the centre would be taken after school on a weekly basis to receive one-to-one English tutoring support. And this was run by staff and by community volunteers. And so the practical service improvement in this case is that students are now receiving the literacy support that they were lacking. And number 10, first, implementing racism awareness, diversity and inclusion training for all staff and volunteers. An organisation, if people working in an organisation are not educated on inclusive practices, the organisation itself cannot advance anti-racism. Number 2, transparent evaluation reports on wages and salaries. I think to demonstrate that there's no wage discrimination based on ethnicity or gender or disabilities. Number 3, creating an effective complaint system, both for the people working in the organisation and for people using the services of the organisation. It's important to create an environment where they feel they would be supported, say they were to make a complaint or if they're going through an issue, a problem, and having that question raised and effectively addressed. Thank you and goodbye.